So much nicer
Much
than
better.
looking at your name.
Yes, absolutely. I'm thinking, where's the camera? I couldn't find it. There we
Oh
go.
man, I've done like so many Zoom calls over the years as like I'm sure you have as well, actually, with what you
Yeah, yeah. It's funny though, like when I'm on my phone, like I know on the laptop, and then I'm thinking, hang on, where is it on the phone? And then I found it. There it is. All good.
awesome. Now
All
I feel
good.
like I'm at a coffee shop. Awesome. Thank
Pardon?
you.
How am I?
Mm.
Yeah, I'm actually really good. I yeah, I'm good actually. Life is nice. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's yeah, I feel good. I must say that I feel 100% better than I did when I first met you back in July. Like the difference is like night and day, basically. Like
Mm.
it's pretty amazing. It's pretty good. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like when I first met you and leading into meeting you or being on the couch with my sore knee for 10 days and reassessing my life and, being self evaluating myself and going, I created this issue. I need to fix it. Um, yeah, it's definitely quite rewarding in a way, but also very how do I put it? Like, getting to know myself a little bit more, like, and the fact that I was thinking to myself this morning, like, I remember like eating food or being somewhere with Glenn and just in my head going, oh, fuck it, I don't care, I'm just going to eat it. I remember that. And now I don't have that because I know, fuck it, I'm just going to eat it, what that means to me and what it did to me. So I know I've still got a long way to go, but in my head, I know that this is more of a lifestyle, more of a this is how I'm going to live my life. It's not a quick fix. It's not one of those things where once I hit that goal weight, um, then it's the end because I know what you've taught me in the last 4 months or what you have shown me is achievable and it's an everyday thing. Like it's so achievable. Like just portion control. Like I leave my scales on the kitchen bench.
Yeah, same.
So
It's like
just in case I
around
want
here.
So just in case I want to weigh something, like I just instead of pulling it out, it's on the kitchen bench. It's where all the charges live. You know what I mean? Like that's where it lives. It doesn't go in the cupboard. It lives on the bench.
Mm.
So yeah, look, I feel a lot better. I even look a lot better. My face is a lot better. Um, just things have changed, like within me, like my confidence, the way I see myself, the confidence really has come back to me. Like, before I met you, or, by the time I'd met you, like I did not like looking in the mirror. I didn't like what I was seeing. I just didn't. I literally did not like it. So now I do like it. I know there's more to be done, but I'm on the right track. Like I'm on that track and I know what is needed and what not to do and what to do. And if you do happen to not even have a bad day, but if you do happen to have a drink or if you do happen to have this or have a treat or overindulge at a party or something like that, then it's not the end of the world, but I'm back there tomorrow. Like, and that's the one main thing that I've learned is there's always tomorrow, and tomorrow is you're going to do better than the day before. And that's how I see it. Like I just know that I just wake up every day and going, right, I'm just going to be better than yesterday.
Mm.
It's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain, Lily. It really is. Like, I know it's only been 4 months, but it's been a real education for me once again and just learning things and resetting and relearning certain things that I knew like 5 years ago. And I knew it's funny, I knew that I knew I needed to do it, but I just needed somebody to hold my hand for a little bit. You know what I mean? And It's been really good. And look, I look back on photos. Glenn and I looked at photos. We're going through photos on Tuesday, and there was a photo of him and I in May, and I went, oh. And then I showed him the photo of him and I on Saturday, and I went, oh my God. I go, I have, he goes, you have lost weight. I go, I know that, I can tell, but like it's not until you actually see it in photos. And then I went, oh fuck, yeah, that wasn't good.
Mm.
But he's really encouraging. He said even like last night, you can do this. You it's taken you a little bit longer than you wanted, but you're learning to live how to live the life that you want to live. And even he's changed a little bit. I mean, he won't go to extreme like me, but it's not even extreme. He won't give up junk food or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay, because now he knows, like, when it comes to Friday, Saturday night, because I'll make extra, like, the what is it, the salsa, the taco mix. Like, I'll make more of that, because if I know all the tuna or the salmon with the pasta, I'll make more of that. So if he has a takeaway night or something, and I think, oh, I'm not, I've got it in the freezer, so and it's all portion controlled, or I say to him, no, I'm having my taco mince. Like, it's just, yeah, he knows that on a Friday and Saturday night, um, I'm not eating takeaway.
Mm.
I'm eating my food. And
Mm.
if I do have the takeaway, then he knows the next, like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So yeah. So look, it's been really, really helpful, and just, yeah, really, really good. Thank you. It's been
Yeah.
really, really good.
No, that's all
Yeah.
right. Welcome. Um, I have a few questions on the back end of what you said,
Yeah.
but like at the end of the day as well, it, half of the effort is on my end, but
Mm.
half of the effort's on your end as well. Like
Yeah.
you are so welcome, but at the end of the day, you're the one who put in the effort and the work, because unfortunately that's the thing. I mean, like if there was a magic pill out there, like, we'd all be fit and healthy, and if we could
Yeah.
just magically be educated, I wouldn't have a job. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you're welcome,
Yeah.
but also well done. And that's on
Yeah.
you. So you mentioned the kind of like in the beginning and where you were coming from without using the right terminology, you were kind of saying like a bit of like a self-sabotaging cycle, like where maybe you'd make some progress, but then, if you did slip up and you maybe did overeat, or you had like a heap of junk food and you knew within your own intuition that that probably wasn't the smartest option if I'm trying to lose weight, how your
Yeah.
mentality has changed now, where it's like,
Yeah.
just because I, might have made a mistake, I'm going to use it as a learning lesson to choose to grow and, still go on with my journey. Do you want to like give me a bit of a insight as to what that was like for you? Because that's a huge mental shift.
Yeah. Look, I think, um, look, I think because, um, like leading into, like, from 2017 or 2018 to about 2021, like, I would go to the gym 3 to 4 days a week, and I was very regimented, which was fine, and great, and I loved it. I loved every bit of it. And I think for me, it was, I don't know if I was exhausted mentally or physically. I don't know what it was. And I do remember that it was in the last lockdown in Melbourne, and I felt very exhausted and I just can't do this anymore. And
Mm.
that was a big, huge thing. And then I think, like, that was a broad, not so much the exercise, but I think just in life, I just was exhausted. And then I just decided I just don't know. I just started eating and just started not really caring. You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't care. And then I met Glenn, and I think, he would, he would go and buy takeaway, and in my head I'd be like, oh fuck it, I don't care. Like I just didn't care. And it wasn't until like fast forward to this year when that Baker cyst popped in Byron Bay and I couldn't walk, and then I came back and I had to be off it for 10 days, and then I couldn't go back to work, and like all this stuff was all, and I just thought I actually created this. This was my fault. This was because I stopped exercising. Um, I wasn't I wasn't looking after it. Like I wasn't loving myself. I actually let myself go. I just generally went. Where prior to that, I used to love myself. Like, you know what I mean? I really loved what I saw in the mirror, and I was very happy with how my body was looking and what I was doing to it, and and what it can achieve and all that stuff. And then it wasn't until the Baker cyst happened, and look, leading into that rupture, I knew I had put on weight, but I didn't realize how much I'd put on weight, right? So when you've put on weight, you have, but you don't realize. And then the realization for me is when I was stuck on the couch and then I couldn't go back to work full time. And then it was just in my head, shit. Like it was just shit. And I went, no, this needs to change. I'm very capable. My body has done it once before and I'm capable and I know what to do, but I just needed a little bit of a hand. You know what I mean? But for me, it was just once I started seeing the weight come off, and just, I think every week there was a light bulb moment for me. Every week there was one. Like there was just, whether it was to do with having my period or salt. Like I don't have salt anymore. Like I haven't had salt in 4 months now. Since might have been second week in.
Yeah.
Like I haven't had salt. The alcohol intake, like what alcohol does to your body. Um, you know, the puffiness in me. Why was I getting puffy? I was realizing, oh, that's because I had a binge drink the night before. And I was learning all these little things. And it was learning all these little things that kept going, oh, yeah, yeah, this is exactly what I'm needing. I'm needing to learn all these little things to realize, like it's just changed my whole mind. Like it was just learning the little things for me. The alcohol, period, even going to the toilet before you weigh yourself. That to me is
Yes.
the biggest game changer on earth. The biggest. And
Yeah.
I have to go twice before I weigh, because that's my body. I go twice in the morning
Yeah.
and they're about 20 minutes apart from each other. And I won't weigh myself until after the second one. And it's just little things like that, Lily, that I was just blowing my mind. Was like, even like previous when I was at a gym and had a trainer and whatever, I wasn't learning any of that. I was doing all the weights and, cardio and, little things like that. But it was more, I needed more brain stuff. I needed evidence, and I needed the reason why, and I needed to know how to, okay, so if you did this, this is the result. I needed all that. And I needed it to explain to me. Like, yeah. And the puffiness of the fluid of after alcohol, that was another game changer for me. Like, it's just like, yeah, another game changer. Like, yeah. And that's when everything just seemed to, and I think also to me, my life is a little bit different. I'm wanting to change it and to better myself, because though I don't be like my mum or my sister, and because they are very big women, and I didn't want to be that. And I actually I generally like myself. I don't want to be that fat person, or that person that can't sit on an airplane or can't move and do go on hikes if they're on holidays and stuff. I don't want to be that person. Like my birthday's next week and I'm going to be 49, and I don't want to be, yeah, I don't want to be somebody that can't move. I
Mm.
literally don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
So that was my mindset change. Like, it was just all those little things that I was learning every week, that I would message you or ask you, why is this happening? And you would tell me, and I'd like, yeah. Just even another thing, like another little thing that you gave me. Um, Coconut oil, to use because I was itchy. Like, at first I was skeptic. And I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And I did it. And it fucking worked.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I'm like, who would have thought that coconut oil from the shopping centre out of the supermarket is going to work?
Yeah.
Like, I just little things like that for me is a game changer for me with my mindset. Like, that's because I don't want to have to spend like all this money, or I don't want to have to, have a magic pill, or I don't want to have to do all this other stuff. I want to do it naturally, where it fits into my life, where I know I need to change, or I need to, you know, improve in areas or whatever. But yeah, that's the and that's how my mind changed, my mindset changed. It really did.
Mm.
It's just learning something new every week, from either messaging you or listening to you on Instagram. Some of your things that you post on Instagram, your stories.
Mm.
Like, yeah, I look, there's been a couple of them throughout the 4 months that you've posted, and I can't really pinpoint, but as I've watched them, light bulb moment. Like, oh fuck yeah. Like, that's it. Okay. Like, it's just, and I think for me too is not to be so hard on myself, and to just take one day at a time. Not to think about, um, you know, I want to, I, in 2 weeks' time, I want to have lost 2 kilos. This is hypothetical. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to think like that. It's either it's one day at a time and 1 week at a time. That's it for me. I just got to keep it really simple. But if I know something was coming up, I'd prepare for it. Like, I just need, like, we're getting a new kitchen next week, and it's coming out on Tuesday. So I'm on the weekend have to prep some meals, so I freeze it. So I don't want to eat out, and that's the thing too. I don't. And Glenn knows that, and I said, I'm happy to go to your mum's for dinner. I said, but there's going to be some nights where I have to eat my own food. I just need to, because it makes me feel good,
Mm.
and that's the main. That's at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about what makes me feel good, really.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, for
So
sure. I'm the same, honestly. Like, I don't mind eating out and being social and celebrating things in life, but yeah, it's hard to understand until you've done it. Hey, like
yeah,
at first, like I'm talking very long time ago, I was a
yeah,
little girl. I had no clue about food and would just eat whatever I was served. And at the boarding school, same story. And I didn't notice how much better you can feel when you have a little bit more control and you prepare things that your body's going to serve you really well for. And man, like over
yeah,
time, you're like, it's actually like genuinely not worth it. And you, instead of like being so food focused, you're more focused about how you feel, which is
yeah,
yeah, very eye-opening. And you mentioned as well, like for you, it was you kind of like that baker's cyst burst, right? And it was kind of like a turning point for you where you're like, I kind of knew something like this was going to happen. But I guess my question for you is like, what kind of stopped you from taking action sooner? Because you kind of had to wait for that moment with the knees
yeah,
get really bad. Like, what was it?
yeah. I don't
You
know.
didn't,
I
yeah.
look. It was always in my head.
Mm,
Like, it was always there. Like, it was
right.
sitting here. So it was always sitting there. Like, it was. And I knew I had to do something, but I was just like, "Ugh." I don't know. Like, I don't know why I didn't do anything prior to
Mm,
that. I really don't.
mm,
Um, Maybe in my head, I needed this for it to be a rude awakening, to go. Maybe, yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't do it beforehand. I can't answer because it did. It sat there. It sat there. I knew I had to, but I just didn't do anything about it. Like, I don't know if I put excuses onto it or anything. It just was, don't know. I don't know now. I really not sure.
That's okay.
I put it down to the fact that, it was the universe or my body saying, you know what, you did this, you're going to fix it, and you're going to, fix it to a point that you're going to learn certain things along. That's how I look at it, because that's, to me,
Mm.
I can still visualize, I can still see myself sitting on the couch with my leg up and just going through all these, not scenarios, but like conversations, like a conversation I was having to myself in my head.
Yeah.
And I still do remember it clear as
Mm.
day.
Mm.
And I think, yeah, I think it needed to happen, but I don't know why I didn't do it prior. Hand on heart, I don't know why. No.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's totally fine. Sometimes it's hard to analyze like things like
Yeah.
that. I've been told I ask good questions, but sometimes there's such good questions where it's like, oh wow, I haven't even thought about that. Um,
Yeah.
I have noticed, I'm not saying that this is the case for you necessarily, because I'm not a mind reader, but like sometimes even in like my own life with not things that are health and fitness related, but in other areas, sometimes because we're so caught up in other things that we're putting a lot of time and attention to, i.e., maybe like relationships or work, or maybe there's something very serious going on in your life that you have to take care of that doesn't have to do with you, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And our time and attention, majority of the time, is focused externally. And then when we do have that moment to sit on the couch and it all kind of hits us and we start thinking all these things, we can kind of just feel like overwhelmed. It's like, hang on, let me just do this and this and this, and then I'll come back to me. But at the same time, the issue is like, why do people have to wait for something serious to happen to, prioritize themselves, and as you said, love themselves a little bit more. And trust me, you're not the only one who's gone through that experience. But yeah, I appreciate that. I was just curious because there's even
Yeah.
people in my life where I'm like, at the moment, as we speak, in ICU with a tube down their throat and all of these things and on the
Yeah.
brink, they wouldn't be in that position if they weren't 40 kilos overweight. But they
Yeah.
would be healthy enough to fight through it. So like my
Yeah.
motivation is now like through the roof. And like, so yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm just glad for you that that circumstance wasn't like it's a Baker's cyst in the knees and everything.
Yeah.
It wasn't
And
like
it was a
life
really
threatening.
long recovery, like not as long as your recovery, but it was annoying. It was an annoying recovery, as in it
Yeah.
took so long.
Mm.
Like it should have been healed in months, but for some reason it didn't heal that quickly for me. But now it's 100% better. But like I just, and I even do think about it sometimes. I think I'm not doing that again. I'm not letting myself or letting myself down, but letting myself go, no, you can have cake 3 days in a row. Like, do you know what I mean? I mean, that's just an example. But like, yeah, like, you can eat shit food 3 days in a row. No, that's never gonna happen ever again. It's just not, because I just know what not exercising and not looking after and not loving yourself can do. And I just not doing it. I've said that to Glenn. Even he said to me last night something, I don't even know what the conversation is, and he said to me, it doesn't matter how long it's taken you to lose 10 kilos or the next 10. He goes, but I know you're going to do it. He goes, because the thing is, you will do it. And like, I've got a friend that had the gastric sleeve and she's lost 37 kilos in 6 months or whatever. And I don't comment on any of her photos or anything, because I just think I can't congratulate you. I just can't. And I know that sounds really mean and not friendly and not being a friend. And that was her way of losing weight. But the issue I have is that you didn't even try.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you didn't try. And that's another thing that I want to say is that if people say that being on a calorie deficit is hard, it's not. Like, it's literally not. It is not. Like, I have a chocolate drink nearly every night. Like, if I'm craving chocolate, I'll have my chocolate drink that you recommend. Or, yeah, it's not hard. It's not hard. at all.
100%. I think what's a lot harder is dealing with like, long-term health circumstances or, your vitality maybe not being there, like
Yeah, yeah. And
really
I
harder
think
at the end of the day. But
yeah.
as you said, it's not nearly as difficult or hard. And in fact, when you get the results you've been wanting for so long, it's like the opposite. It's like, fuck, this is easy and rewarding. It's not hard.
It's so
Um,
easy. Like
yeah.
it's so easy. Like when I'm at work, I take all my food and everyone at work knows now that not that I'm on an eating plan or whatever, but they know that I never used to buy lunch anyway. But like they always ask what's for lunch or what am I eating today or you
That's good.
know just even like like the clothes fitting me better and just feeling much better in my own skin. And I think that was the main thing for me too, is that I needed to feel good about my own skin again. So if I'm feeling good about my own skin, means that I can progress and that I can continue on doing what I need to do.
For
Yeah,
sure.
and definitely the whole mindset thing is it's just unbelievable what just changing my mindset and just looking at things differently and just knowing that I wake up every morning and I go for that walk or I do a bit of a stretch, I do some stretching or just little things. It really is, Lily. It's the little things for me that make my life so much happier. And, moving forward, I know that I can do this. And just like there's a big family holiday in March next year. And it's on Glenn's side anyway, but I just, I'm like, right, I can lose a little bit more weight and I'll feel much better because when I went on holiday this year, even though I did like myself back in March, see, that's the funniest thing. When I was in Bali, I was wearing bathers and I quite liked myself. And so it must have been when I got back from Bali, I don't know what happened. There must have been something that happened in me. But I think you're right. You know what I think it was? Work. I think I was just so
Okay.
consumed by work and driving an hour there and driving an hour back. And I
Mm.
think because I look back, Bali was fine. I generally liked, but I do remember being very hot and sweaty in Bali. I know it's a humid place, but I remember going, well, maybe if I was 10 kilos lighter, I would,
uh, yeah,
you know, but
sure.
yeah, but
Absolutely.
no,
Our fat is
yeah,
like a little thermos. It keeps us nice and warm. But if
yes,
it's hot,
yeah,
you don't really need it.
yeah, yeah,
Sure. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. You mentioned as well, like mindset sides of it and the link between like kind of, for lack of a better word, mentally like calming down and feeling more self reassured the more you kind of learnt um the reason for things and the explanation behind it. You were kind of saying like there's a bit of a link there between the more I learned, the more I was like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. And you felt more reassured. Do you mind like expressing that a little bit more?
yeah. I think too uh look, okay, I'll just use this again because was a big one for me.
Yeah.
Was leading into my period. Look, I knew that weight would fluctuate, but I wasn't aware that it would be that much, and I wasn't aware also that the scale, the actual equipment, and the numbers would play havoc with my head at times, especially when I was leading into my period and on my period.
Hmm.
Like I didn't realize what that would do to me, like as in, oh, I've put on weight, but I know I've been following the program and I'm doing everything right. But it did, and it wasn't until I took that time off, that week off or whatever, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. And then when I did weigh myself after I had lost all that weight, and I'm like, yeah, like, but it was just realizing that, and maybe getting the reassurance from you or you explaining this is what happens, and also following the flow app. It was just, I think to me too, I was trying really hard. Like I was like in my head, I'm like, I'm trying so hard and the scales aren't budging, or you know, I've weighed myself on Wednesday and I was down 300 grams, and then I weighed myself on Sunday and I'm up 300. Like it was just playing havoc for me. So I think to me, for when I would, you know, you would see that I was about to get my period, or I was on it or whatever, that it was just reassuring that,
Mm.
I mean, because you don't put in, like, when you're trying to lose weight or anything like that, you're not really thinking about all the other things that contribute to your body as a female. You don't think of that, and it's not until you're being told, or you know, you're being told, or you don't really think about it. And even over the years, I've never really thought about it, to be honest. I mean, I know that the week leading into my period, I get really hungry. I like sugar stuff, blah, 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 blah. And I know as soon as I got it, that all those cravings and everything just disappears, just goes. So I knew that bit, but it was the fact that I wasn't really aware of the ups and downs within the 7 days or the 10 days of, you know. So that to me was reassuring. And I think just learning a little things on your Instagram, like, you know, like you said the other day, and even though that I knew this, but it was another, not reassurance, but it was just, yeah, to say, yeah, you're so right, Lily, and that is so right. That, you know, you got to have protein, carbs, and fiber in your greens, you know, veggies. And if you have all those three things, then you won't be hungry at each meal, right? And I'm like, and I'm listening to you, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's so right. And the craziest thing is, the day that I was listening to that was the day that I didn't really have all those things in my meals. And I thought, fuck, why am I so hungry?
Oh, really? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You know, and that's what it, I'm like, yeah, because you're not having those three things. Like, it's so important that you have those three things.
Mm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, sure. No, I appreciate you explaining that on your end because, like, at the end of the day, for me, the knowledge and understanding is already there on a molecular and cellular level, which I try not to get too into, otherwise it's obviously confusing. Um, if you haven't studied like science on that.
yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah,
have definitely noticed like the more over the years as well, like in the beginning when I was like a personal trainer, I didn't even work one-to-one like online. It was literally just like training in the gym. Here's
yeah,
how to use machines because that was my job, right?
yeah, yeah,
And they would come back and be like, yeah, but why? Why? And I'd explain things. And then eventually I realized, and they realized as well, they're like, so how long should I work out? Like, or should I be doing steps as well? And all this other stuff. And I was like, honestly, you need to be controlling your nutrition, but like that's sort of what I'm here for. So do you know what I mean? And it's very
yes,
interesting how when you're provided the right education, but you also understand it in a manner of your level of understanding, that's where true progress and true growth is, and not just physically, but like
yeah,
mentally and emotionally as well. So it's really great to hear on your side the link between that. So I appreciate that. Um, and yeah, I think from memory you were at 114. Is that correct?
yeah. I weighed myself on the Saturday, but it was, I think, well, once again, didn't know this. Should have weighed myself in the morning, but I weighed myself in the afternoon.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So
Mm.
that was 114, but I started at, was it 112? No?
Yes, that's what it says in the
Yeah,
app.
so the next day, so I did, because this is what I do to myself, because, you know, I can't, I'm like a kid at Christmas. I can't wait. I need to know now, kind of thing, you know? Like, so I purchased the scales. I purchased the scales and I jumped on them. I thought, fuck, I'm heavier than 114. Oh my God. And then it wasn't until the next day on the Sunday when, you know, you follow the steps that you're meant to do. And yeah, it was 112.7. And in my, Oh God. In my head, as I was weighing myself, I went, oh, thank God it's not 114.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yep. Definitely fasted weight. Otherwise, just don't bother doing it. It's not accurate and it will mess with your head. So for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was me yesterday because I had to leave. I left work at 5 to go to work at 5:30, so I had to start at 7. And I thought I'm not going to be able to weigh myself, so I did it this morning instead. And yeah, it was just, yeah, that's another thing too I've learned. If you can't do it when you're meant to, then don't just do it the next. I just do it the next morning. Like I
Oh,
was able to do it this morning,
yeah.
so um, yeah, that's another thing I've learned too. If I can't do it on that Wednesday, for instance, hypothetically, then I thought, right, just do it the next day or do it when you can. That allows you to do it
Yeah. Yeah.
because and that was another thing that I had to learn about the scales too. I had to learn in my own head that, and that's where I was putting all the pieces together. So, like, over your month, over the 28 days, you would go up and down, because of hormones or whatever it was. And that I had to make sure and then I had to make sure that the numbers weren't really doing my head in, but I had to realize why the scales were up, say, 200 grams and then back down 2 days later. And I kind of, you know what I mean? Like I kind of had to work that out and I had to make it work for me. Like, and that was when, like, yeah, yesterday was an example of I'm not weighing myself because I just can't do it today, but I'm going to do it tomorrow morning because I know I'm going to be at home and I'm going to be able to do it. And yeah,
Mm,
and which is great.
yeah.
And that was another thing too, is putting those two things together too about, let this having the scales there is great, but being there and it does keep you in check, but not to, overdo it, weighing yourself and that's what Glenn said. He said something to me about, oh, you've weighed yourself again. I said, no, I've only weighed myself again because I didn't weigh myself on the Wednesday.
Mm,
And he's like, oh, okay. He goes,
yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's such a good point. My brain's thinking about 50 million things right now with reference to scales. And you just hit the nail on the head there, where, if you don't do it often enough, then it's not going to be accurate. But if you do it too often, it's also going to be inaccurate,
yes,
which is so
yes,
conflicting and confusing.
yes,
Women,
yes,
particularly, though.
yeah. So
It
I had
doesn't
to
matter if
learn that.
you're not overweight. Like I'm at a healthy weight, right? My weight's still going to shift every single day.
Yeah. So you've got to learn that. So I had to learn that too. I had to
Yeah.
go, okay. So yeah, I had to really learn it. So I knew that, Sundays were the day to weigh myself. So I knew that. But if I couldn't do it during the week, then it's okay. Like it was okay. But if I couldn't do it on the Wednesday or Thursday, just pop in there on the Friday or something. And some days I did do it on a Friday and went, oh, that's nice. That's a nice, and going into the Sunday it was great. But yeah, you have to learn that too about the scales and about your numbers. But you
Yeah.
do because you've got to weigh yourself to know where you're at. You have to,
Mm. Yeah.
and it's
Just play a
yeah,
guess
you have to. Yeah,
for sure.
I
100%.
didn't like the scales at first, but you have to because you have to. Well, you have to see your numbers go down. You have to because if you're not seeing them go down, okay, you might be feeling, which I did. I was feeling different, and clothes were fit, but the first 6 weeks you really need to watch your numbers go down because if you're overweight and you're trying to lose weight, that's the thing for you to keep getting you motivated is seeing those numbers go down. And then as you get into halfway, like I did, and clothes were starting to fit me better, and I was wearing a belt, and like just that's but numbers does keep you motivated, but then not only does that keep you motivated, is when things start looking different on you or clothes start fitting you differently or for me, for instance, I can fit back into those jeans that I haven't worn for 12 months because when I tried them on back in May or whenever, they couldn't even zip up. So yeah, that's another motivation. Like my size 16 clothes now around the waist are starting getting a bit loose. So, you know, that's great for me because now they're getting loose and I'm actually feeling comfortable. But yeah, I mean, um, that's even going to be better when, 10 more kilos comes off or whatever. Yeah, like it's certain things on me now I feel a lot better in. Like I definitely don't feel uncomfortable. Like I used to feel really uncomfortable, just like sitting and just, yeah, it was horrible. Just horrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a nice state for anyone to be in when you're not happy with how you look or how you feel, particularly as a woman. But again,
Yeah.
reference to the scale as a woman, yeah, it's so important not only on a weight loss journey to realize that it's going to fluctuate, not because you're not doing the right thing. Like as long as you're getting the right help, it's going to fluctuate because you're a woman and you can't change that.
Yeah.
You cannot change your
Yeah.
gender. You cannot change the
Yeah.
fact that you have periods or you're perimenopausal or you're menopausal,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And that is part of the process, which is why weighing yourself is actually going to help, like with your mental clarity and being rest assured, but along with the education sides of things. And like even my partner, he's a male, right? So he weighs himself after dinner, and then the next day, well, a couple of days later, he will just randomly step on the scales in the middle of the day, and he's like, "Oh, I like gained 4 kilos." I'm like, "No, you didn't. It's just not fasted and not consistent." So like, I always fluctuate 4 kilos, and he's like this, you know, very fit male who loves training and is very
Yeah.
muscular. So I'm
Yeah.
like, you can't just lose 4 kilos of muscle mass in like 3 days. Like, just
No.
fucking weigh
Yeah.
yourself fasted or don't do it.
Yeah.
Language. Um, but yeah, I do have a question for you on the back end of that one though,
Yeah.
is because a lot of women hold their worship to the scale,
Right.
their
Yep.
self-worth to the
Yep.
scale, particularly
Yep.
when they know they're overweight. And how did you kind of overcome that in the beginning? Because I know at the first it can be quite confronting. Be like, oh, I didn't realize I was that much, or like seeing the numbers and just like letting that sink into your head. You're like, okay, like
Uh,
serious.
I think
How did your relationship with the scales kind of like change over time?
I just knew that I had to do it.
Mm,
Like yeah, I just knew that I had to do it, but I also knew that knowing the number, because prior to that too, and this is probably another thing, is that I never weighed myself. Let's say I hadn't weighed myself for 2 years, maybe 3 years. So I
mm,
don't know how much I weighed, to be honest. I was just, I was probably the last time I weighed myself, I think I was 101, and I kind of remember that, and I quickly jumped off it, and I just thought, oh fuck, I'm not dealing with that. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not dealing with that. But I knew I had to do it to make the change within me. I knew I had to. So, and when I did step on it on the, especially on the Sundays,
mm.
for the first month, or well, let's say for the first month of stepping on the scales for Wednesday and on Sunday, I would just get on and take a deep breath and just really just hope that I'd lost some weight. And then as I was seeing, even if it was only 300 grams or 400 grams or 200, to me, it was still a weight loss. It was still a loss. And
Mm.
I just kept going, okay, well, that's good. That's good. And then every time I'd step on, I'd look again and go, yep, okay. And then I just knew it had to be done, but I had to just, not think about, it's not, I also had to think about too, it's not about the numbers. I had to really think about too, I had to really get back into about how I was feeling. And that first time, I think when I might have in the survey said, I, I, I felt really good. I literally felt really good, like really happy. I think I felt really in one of them. I don't know if it was in the first month, at the end of the first month or the fifth week, where I actually went, I actually feel good. I couldn't believe how I felt in the morning. Like yeah, I really, and the sleep, like I was feeling really good. So to me, to overcome that, I just kept focusing on the other good things that were happening to me, because of the program.
Mm.
And just not really look, there was moments where the weight was fluctuating and it was up and down, and you know, because of being a woman or whatever, or my perimenopause, or I was just going crazy. Um, I tried to not really think about it that much. Like I didn't want to focus too much on the numbers. It was more, yeah, I wanted to, and that's that one day when I just thought I'm going to pull out some of my, because I did a big clean out months ago, but I kept certain things because I knew. So this was another thing, that how that thing was sitting there. I kept a couple of pairs of jeans because when I was cleaning out the wardrobe, I thought to myself, I'll get back into those. So I'm glad I kept them because they were my guys. So they, like when I zipped these jeans up and button, I went, I could not have zipped these up. Like literally couldn't do them up back in May or April. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. So I'm glad I kept two pairs of jeans because I really, like, to me that was like a win for me. Like,
Yeah, no, for sure.
but
Yeah.
even when I was cleaning out the wardrobe back then, it was still sitting there. I knew, like, and I thought, no, I'm going to keep it because I'm going to lose weight. So I also just needed to focus on something else besides the number. The number is a great tool. It's helping you. It's only a small part of the bigger picture. Like,
100%. Yes.
yeah, and I think too, once, and look, I will be honest with you, I didn't talk to Glenn much about my weight, as in the numbers.
Mm.
I would say to him, I've lost a kilo, I've lost 500 grams, and he'd say that's great. But I literally did not talk about the number.
Mm.
Did not say what I weigh. I told him the starting weight, but I just didn't. And I've told him the goal weight,
Mm.
but I don't actually talk about the numbers, what I'm actually sitting on now. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's not that I don't want to say it out loud, but if I need a reminder, if I have to, I'll go and stand on the scales, like just to remind myself. You know what I mean? But like I don't actually talk about the number.
That's a good
Yeah,
thing because you should never need your partner's reassurance that you're doing
yeah,
it. That's not, like they shouldn't have to reassure you. Your own
no,
result, how you're feeling, and your body changing should be enough for you. And like if you have to hear it from myself, then yeah, I'll tell you when you're doing
yeah,
good, obviously, as you know, but
yeah,
you shouldn't need their reassurance. You should feel so assured in yourself anyway. But in addition to that as well, like 200 grams, 300 grams is quite significant. Like 1 kilo is volume wise is bigger than this vitamin C. Do you
yeah,
understand that? Like physically, one
yeah,
kilo is about yay big. Okay. So like
yeah,
200 grams is still like close to a fistful um
yeah,
in terms of the volume. So even though like numerically it looks small, volume is
yeah,
it's big. And the other thing you have to realize is with fat, as you've put on weight over the years, or anyone, you unfortunately what happens is not only do the fat cells increase in size, but you actually create new fat cells. So the other thing to keep in mind is that like the larger you are,
yeah,
the even though you're going to lose, like let's say you lose 300 grams and it's the same volume, you have more
yeah,
cells to lose 300 grams from. So
yeah,
yeah, you've got to keep in mind the volume sides of it as well.
yeah.
But yeah, that's a really, really good point. I guess um I'm curious to know, like, what would you kind of say to, I guess, someone that, is interested in starting their own journey and they know they should make a change, but they haven't taken action yet? Like, what would you say, or what would you have said to your past self, like, knowing that you can experience what you have like a year ago?
Look, I would probably, I would probably say just try, try and do it, just do it, but also just set yourself a small goal, like I did. Like let's say let's just do it for 3 months, or do it for 3 months, or do it for 4 months. But like, what would be what's the worst thing that's going to happen if you like be on a calorie deficit? Like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? And the thing is, I will remind myself or somebody else that I never went without. Like, I literally did not go without. Like, if I wanted a piece of chocolate, I could have a piece of chocolate because it was on my program. And sometimes that was my favorite days because I knew I was having chocolate that night. But that was when I first started. Like, in the first 6 weeks, even 5 weeks, I really looked forward to certain days because I thought, yeah. Like, my favorite 2 days were the days where the steaks, chips, and asparagus. They were my favorite days.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think maybe because it was the chip thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe because I had chocolate at the end of the day. I'm not really sure what it was. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But I do. They would have to be my two, and the salmon. I do like salmon, but that was my favorite. I think it had to do with the chips. I really do. See, mind crazy. I would just say take your time, one day at a time, and don't think of the end result because I think that's the problem. We all think that we need to be this certain weight by a certain time. No, this is a lifestyle. This is lifestyle. And that's, I think, the main thing I would say. You're doing this to make your life better and longer. Better and longer. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Even with anything, if the goal's significant, it's not just 5 kilos or like 10 pounds, it's like 40 pounds or whatever, 30 kilos. That's big. So it seems scary. And you're like, that fear, because it's so big, is the thing that's holding you back. And then you feel like you're the thing that's holding yourself back. But what you have to understand is like literally anything, not even just weight loss. If the goal's big, you got to break it up into smaller chunks. And literally, it's like a staircase. Just take one step at a time up the staircase. Before you know it, you will be at the top of the building. But try and like climb out the side of the building and do some sort of like ninja style. Like, of course, that's scary. 100%.
And my goal is now is they're just 5 kilo goals, like just 5 kilos at a time. Because as you said, the bigger picture, I can't, and I don't want to either. I don't want to look at the bigger picture like that. I'm going to lose 30 kilos in 6 months. Let's say that. No, I don't want to do that. Because along that way, I'm going to like, there's going to be Christmas or there's going to be a weekend away. There's going to be, like there's life.
And periods.
And that's, and periods and just, yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? So I know that I break it down to 5 kilo lots and it makes my life and my head so much happier and easier. And I just know what I've got to do. Like, and that's what I would say to that person. Just break it down. Yes, you may need to, or you have to lose a certain amount, but let's just do 5 kilos at a time.
Yeah. 100%.
And I think that's the easiest, best advice would be break it down, do 5 kilos at a time.
Yeah.
And 1 week at a time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly the same methodology or thinking process that triathletes do. Like they have to cycle for like what, 3 hours or like swim a ridiculous amount of kilometers or miles. You think they're thinking about like, oh yeah, let me just casually swim like 10 kilometers. That's going to help them out. And they have to not only do that, and then they got to cycle and run. They break it up like, okay, let's get into 5 minutes. Okay, another 5 minutes or some. And when they start to struggle, they break it down even more actually. Okay, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 60 seconds. And it just makes it so much more seamless and progressive in terms of like the way they emotionally feel to get through to the end and succeed. Speaking of like long term though, really good advice, but long term, what are you looking to get to roughly in terms of like a weight? Like would you be happy at 80, 70?
Yeah, look, long term
Yeah.
Long term would be 85. at this stage. That's yeah, 85 for starters. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and then I would have to reassess that once I got to there. So,
Yeah.
like, once I get to 95, um, 95 is my goal for now, till along the way that I want to, you know, increase. I'm hoping to get a job closer to home or actually at home in the new year, so which will allow me to do more walks and longer walks. So, and now that I've got the walking pad, but being summer and I live near the beach, I'd rather walk outside.
Same.
You know,
Walking on
but
a walking pad when the weather's that beautiful and you live by
yeah,
the
I know it's to me it blows my mind, and it's not happening. So, um, look, 85 would be the weight that I would like to get to, and then I would reassess.
Hmm.
To be honest, yeah. But first, I want to get to 95
Yeah.
because once I get under that 100, then I know that'll be another mind shift.
Yes, for sure. And it's a huge milestone
Yeah,
as well. Like that would be 20 kilos. That's
yeah,
significant,
yeah,
really significant.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Really significant weight, and I think to me, yeah, getting to that would be another mindset shift too, and that would allow me to up the ante or you know increase whatever. Like, but yeah, it's yeah, I would definitely would like to get back to 85 because to me, I remember like I don't even remember what I was like at 85 kilos to be honest, but I'm sure I felt good. You know what I mean? I'm sure I felt really good, but then it's once again, it's probably not about the numbers for me again. It is in a small part, but it's probably more about the journey and how I'm getting there and what I'm learning. And
that's a kind of confidence that, I always aim to instill in everyone. And is often more than not the actual case. Our strategy would be altering your nutrition yet again.
yeah,
And once you lose and you get like around that 100 kg, 99 kg mark, so literally just like another 4 or 5 kilos to lose. Once you get there, we're going to implement some at-home workouts as well. Probably not the gym given your living situation, but just to start toning up a little bit more and shredding that last little bit of fat as well. And also just helping, because the thing is with at-home workouts, they don't have to be long. If they're short and
yeah,
active 3 times a week, cool. But it's a good way to slowly introduce your body into some more strenuous forms of movement. And as a reciprocate of that, you have a little bit more muscle mass, you have a stronger bone density, which means you're going to start walking faster. And it essentially is kind of like pushing a snowball down the hill, where the more it goes down the hill, the faster it rolls, right? Because of the
yeah.
angle. So that would be the approach there.
How do I put it? It's not that I'm surprised. Like I can't like the sort of thing I can't believe that I've finished it and it's completed. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I actually I got something. I can't believe I actually got something more. I got a lot of things out of this, that's for sure. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't believe what I did get out of it. Like for me, it's very, um, it's been really good. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. You're
You're
gonna
welcome.
make me cry, but it's been really. You have no idea, Lily.
Oh, no, you're
Yes,
so welcome. You are
yeah.
so welcome.
The
And
change in me is you have no idea. It's been really, really good, really good, and I'm really, really grateful. Thank you. Yeah,
oh, you're
you
so
have.
welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, of
it's
course.
been such an amazing experience, and yeah, and I know that I follow you on Instagram, and I know some of your reels will be very handy to me, but just yeah, just really, really good, and just very life changing for me in that small amount. Like really, yeah, it was just nice that you held my hand to get me started again. That's really good. Yeah, so yeah,
Oh,
thank you very much. It's been really, really good. And look, so like yeah, portion control and like just little things. Like it's just been a really, really nice journey and a really nice reset and learning. Really, yeah, because now I know that I, you know, I don't want to go back to how I was back in May. If you saw the photo of me back in May, I kind of look like my sister, and it's like, oh no.
yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
uh,
I really appreciate you sharing that with me, and totally okay to be emotional as well, because
yeah,
it shows that you care about your journey,
yeah,
and it has been significant, and that's like I'm holding back my tears right now, but like it's not the first time, women have cried in front of me because they say the words that you're saying right now, and um,
yeah,
you can tell I'm getting emotional, but
yeah,
from a coaching perspective, that's music to my ears. Like, not only do they
yeah,
confident enough to keep working towards their results and the goals that they want long term, but they have also, in doing so with their time with me, changed the entirety of their perspective they have towards life and themselves.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I just really appreciate you sharing that with me. So thank you.
yeah. You should be very like you're a great coach. You really are. You should be very proud of what you do and what you bring to your clients. It's like I've had two or three personal trainers, and the knowledge that you've given me or shared with me is tenfold. Like it's unbelievable. Like you know, to be able to be learning something new every day, and what you've done, like your education, like it's you know what you're talking about, like that, and that's what I was saying to people. Some of my friends, I said, "This chick, she knows what she's talking about," and
Mhm.
they go, "What do you mean?" I'd tell them what degree you've got and this and that, and I'm like, "No, she's on the money. Like she knows what she's talking about."
Yeah.
She's not bullshitting me. Like this chick, no. Like my favorite story is the coconut oil. When I tell my friends the
Yeah.
coconut oil story, that's my favorite story. And
Yeah.
they're like, bullshit. I'm like, go and get it. Just go and try it and get it. I
Yeah.
said, and I can guarantee you. Yeah, they're like, no. And I'm like, true story. Go and get the coconut oil. True story.
Yeah. 100%. I remember
So
when I had that live like group call to go through perimenopause and all that kind of stuff, and all the women were like laughing, but I was like, no, this isn't a joke. Like, I'm not gonna do
that's not a joke.
any
It's
bullshit
for
here.
real. Yeah, it's for
Yeah,
real.
yeah, no, for sure. But I
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And
Yeah, no, you're a
personally,
great coach.
yeah, I appreciate that. But
Yeah.
personally, to say like directly to you right now, um, when I had to make that decision, like I remember looking at like the medical entry form and being like, I've worked so hard for this.
Yeah.
Not only getting good grades and all this kind of stuff, but like the medical exam itself.
Yeah.
And I remember like just sitting there and being like, holy shit, like this is such a huge opportunity, and it's what you were working towards in the beginning anyway. And it's what helped you when you lost your career. So it was very like a
Yeah.
me. But at that
Yeah.
time, I was still coaching clients, um, face to face and online. And I was just like, but fuck, like, why do I have to like help people once they're so sick? So, I really appreciate you expressing that to me, because that decision was like a very sharp decision to have made.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
very, very common that I see how the interlink between biomedical science and nutrition and training and weight loss, like it just helps the women's
Yeah.
education so much more. And as we said, like in the beginning of this chat, the underlying issue majority of the time is that you just don't understand, and that can create a lot of head noise, and just feel like it's difficult and it's not making sense, and you know
Yeah.
so when you're given that clarity, it obviously helps you a lot, as you said. So
Oh, so
I
much. Like
appreciate
your knowledge, your education, everything that you've done, it's yeah, it makes you a much better trainer than the chick down the street kind of thing. Yeah, it does, because it just brings everything together. And I think that's what women want. Women want that. They want to know the hows and the whys and how do we get there and why, and explained on a medical level, but exactly who you are as a trainer and the education you got. I think, well, as you would know from your clients, the amount you've got, that's what we want. That's what we need is that kind of approach to weight loss. None of this, you know, quick fixes or anything. We need an approach that is lifelong. It's lasting, and you can incorporate with your husband or your kids or whatever. Like, that's what we're wanting. We don't want what we've had previous. We need this, and I think you've done me wonders. So thank you. I think you're great. Yeah. So every time that the questionnaire question, how can I improve on as a coach? I'm like, I don't know, man. To go and get another degree? I don't know. Like sometimes I wanted to say that. Do you need to go and get another degree? I don't know. Like I'm thinking, I'm not sure how you can improve because
Yeah.
you're very full of knowledge and has helped me out a lot. Thank you. So very appreciative.
Appreciate that. That probably
Yeah.
makes sense why there were no responses in the feedback form. Recently, I
Yeah.
saw an anonymous feedback form, and I was like, hoping that because I'm always here to improve and grow. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always
Yeah.
open-minded like that, and I
Yeah.
think anyone who is like yourself, that's where you experience experiences like you have. But like, there were no responses, and then I asked again, there were no responses. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe there's a reason for this. Okay, I
There
must be
there is
doing
a
all right.
reason. Like, yeah, there is a reason. And
Yeah.
that's the reason, is the fact that you have the education and you have the knowledge and you just know how to oh, are you there? Yep. You just know how to put it all together for women. That's Yeah, so it's good.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. I should go because I have a call in.
Yep.
I'd love to eat something. But yeah, it was really lovely to have a chat with you one to one.
Yeah,
I
likewise.
appreciate you finding the time within my time availability as well.
Well,
But
no, thank you for finding
yeah,
the time.
no, these
Yeah.
one-to-one chats are literally my favorite thing, and they're the thing I always look forwards to. Um, because on your end and my end, or whoever it is, we've worked so closely together and gone through obstacles and things like that, and it's a two-way street, and it ends up being
Yeah.
a relationship, really, because if it's
Yeah.
I'm all in and you're not, then good luck, or if you're all in and I'm not, then good luck. So it is a team effort, and yeah, I just really appreciate everything you said and the feedback as well, so thank you.